Buffalo and Miami. You know what was at stake. Buffalo, thanks to the Jags, right, and them being the Jags.
Oof.
The Buffalo is playing with house money anyways. Something I didn't expect to happen, but if I'd have thought it out, I took the Titans. I felt like that was a variable spot.
Oh, and I didn't.
That was a big-time variable spot. And so what it ended up happening is they go through this roller coaster of emotions, and I don't know how that team's dealing with it, but they're watching Saturday, and they're like, fuck, we got to win. And then the Jags lose, and you're thinking, okay, now we just have this wide range of things that could happen. I think for the Dolphins, this huge swing, not only having to go to KC, but also being below Cleveland. So you might have to look at the forecast in Kansas City.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be like in Cleveland if they have to go there, and the offhand chance that they have to go there? What do you think it's going to be like if they have to go to Buffalo? So not great for a warm weather team. And I think Miami did enough early to be dangerous, right, in the run game. But I think what happened is after a while, the better quarterback just took over. And he spotted them some absurd situations in the red zone. Like that first one, it was like the Dallas game where you have this great drive, you get down there and you piss it away.
Like, what the fuck?
And man. Dallas did it the way they do it, and Josh did it the way he does it.
The first few possessions for both sides, it was like ping pong there for a bit.
It was, but for Josh, once the game settled in, and they go to the half 14-7 after they throw it short of the goal line.
Can't believe that the sequence before the half was just – I was scratching open wounds into my head.
I was losing my mind up there. The guys were there, and then they left at halftime. They thought, they were like, Chris has a lot on this game. Like, let me go home. And really, I mean, because Sean, it just happened, and they stick a microphone in his face, and it's like, our quarterback can't throw the ball short of the goal line. And you can tell that as great as Josh is, and he's the reason they're there, like, at times you're just like, what the fuck? But for them to play like they played in the first half, leave points on the board, on the road, down at Miami, even though Miami's shorthanded, I'll give them that for sure. This is a really good football team. When they're good, when the Bills are good, because they lost Gabe Davis down the stretch, they got whatever they wanted. Now, I know the Dolphins had guys down. I also think as the game went on, with Rasul going down, with losing a backer, with the injuries that were happening, it turned into a situation where it was like Fangio against McDermott. Who can maximize the talent that we have, and we are down some guys. And I thought the difference between these two teams, you got one quarterback who's an artist, and he can make the throw like the one to Diggs, which was like otherworldly.
Yeah.
And the catch was great.
The
play on the ball is great. And then the other guy, Cheetah, who I think there's nobody better. Nate always harps on this. A couple drops a game. He had the drop in Baltimore. He had
the drop on the pass interference.
The drop on the PI, which you could argue, like, that goes for a while. And for Tua, who I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's dinged because I'm not a big Tua fan, but some of the balls he threw last night were really bad. Mm-hmm. And,
Daniel's reactions were evident of what was happening. What wasn't happening. I mean, he was shocked at some of the – I don't think it was the decisions, but it was the quality of the throws.
But that's the difference between the two teams. And people can be in denial all they want about it, and we've been banging this drum. It's going to be hard for you to win that division. It's not like Jordan Love's in the division. I know we said Jordan Love's the best guy in the NFC North, but to chase a team that's already got that division under control over the last couple of years, and to see that play out on that stage where you have all those turnovers and you still can't capitalize on winning the division at home with everything that's at stake, the difference in the quarterbacks is always going to be too much for me. And, like the ball at the end of the game, you could say Claypool needs to run that route differently. I think Tua did a great job of taking accountability and responsibility for that. I think he's a great dude, man. And I think he should be proud of what he's done. He just finished a healthy season. A
record season.
He lit a lot of teams up. But the problem with the Dolphins are they do not light good teams up. Mm-hmm. And I'm waiting for somebody to be like, hey, Chris, I'll stop talking about it when you're like, Chris, you were right. Because every time they play somebody good, they average under 20 points a game. And they get in these situations in the second half, and I know you're down Waddle. He's down Gabe Davis. He's down Deion Dawkins. There are people down. I know you're down Mostert, but you got this guy Achane who's fucking pretty special and a hard runner for his size. And to come out of the half, I am looking at Mike too, because a good play caller can make anybody look good, and I've lauded him for making Tua look the way he's made Tua look, but you have to be better in situations where you're down one guy or you're down Mostert or you're down Waddle. You have to be better.
Let me ask you this. Like, so Mike is a guy that everyone harps on his first 15 and how like Miami kind of like they usually start out fast. They usually have production. My question is, what's the issue with a lot of teams or a lot of people saying like the first 15 is usually scripted, so it's easier. You know you're going to run them against. What's the issue with scripting more plays?
Well, you script
can't
these
script
you
that
script
many
these
plays.
offenses based on tendencies. You look at your last 3 opponents.
But you're running them regardless, right? Like you're running them
You're
regardless
running your first
what's
15.
coming out.
Who's to say that you can't just recycle what we like and add stuff that we don't add stuff that we like in addition to our first 15? That's what happens at halftime. You make a second 15 essentially, where you say, what can we take from the first 15? What are we throwing out?
Yeah.
Which looks do we give them that gave us looks that we liked? It's like playing Madden when you line up and you hold down right trigger to see the entire field. That's what the OCs are doing after they run their first 15. And through the first 15, that leads to their second and third 15s, to answer your question. So they are doing that.
But
They're AIing it. They're making it better.
the best
The good coaches.
The best 15 plays you got are your first 15, and that's why teams always look great. You see, like great coaches like Steichen, they're going to come down and score if Minshew doesn't miss balls.
And the better
on that
coaches'
first
first 15 is setting up their second 15.
And they're setting up their second 15, and then they're adjusting on the fly. And I think Mike's great, but you go to half, and this offense has been so predicated on having those 2 speedsters. We make a big deal about Cheetah, but having 2 guys that can run by you and terrify you with their speed, it's a big deal. And they're also good players. Like Cedric Wilson can run. You know, Claypool's a big, strong guy, but like they're better players. And, you know, like I also think not having a tight end in situations that like is a game changer for them. You know, it's like the Eagles with a linebacker eventually, and it's less visible. But, like, not having a tight end, Smythe is a guy you get the ball in the flat to or down the seam on a play action, something easy, timing throws. But
3 catches a game if he's open and you see him.
Now the Dolphins might go.
looking for
The
him.
Dolphins might go to KC and win. There's nothing to say they can't win that game.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's hard for me to imagine them making a run year after year with the guy under center. And
Can I talk about the Bills, dude?
yeah,
I love the Bills.
Yeah.
I think I'm in love with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
their heartthrobs.
And, like, I can relate. So, like, in high school, my senior year, they let me take the direct snap. I had to change my number to 9 from 58. And I didn't get to throw the ball. We didn't have routes. It was just like run right, run left. But one thing I noticed when I was getting the ball in high school was I was just bigger than the other kids.
Yeah.
And I was just as fast. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't getting run down unless it was a DB. And the thing that I see and I can relate to with Josh Allen is that he's just bigger and he's stronger. And when he's in the open field, he has the high ground. He has the clear advantage. And for me, the story of the football game, as is with most Buffalo Bills wins, are the scrappy gains, the second efforts, the ability to deflect off of a would-be tackler. That's the X factor for Josh Allen. In addition to that, I really like the run action that Josh Allen is doing. And Dalton Kincaid's a big part of this. When they do that heavy run action across the formation, and then he can dump it off. I mean, he can hand it. They've done a good job with the run game, but the ability to have those quick window throws with Dalton Kincaid in your vision is awesome.
Tight ends were huge last night. Tight ends were huge for them last night. His legs were huge for them last night. And another reason why, like, I kind of am a sucker for Justin Fields is I see what Josh does, like, and the way he gets them out of trouble. Like, they don't win that game if he's just a pocket passer. There's a lot of games they're in that they don't win if he's just a pocket passer. So I think Josh is incredible. You just want to get the good Josh, right? And they're going to play the Steelers, right? So
And Vic knows it. So I was watching this game thinking, like you were saying, it was a chess match between these two coordinators, to call back on what you were saying. And you could see Vic knows it doesn't – you can't just add 1 to the rush. He was going to engage 8.
he was, and
He was like, we need to send as many people.
and he was getting to Josh, and Josh didn't look ready for it. But as the game went on, he started to respond to pressure better. I also think there was a really key spot. If you want to talk about like the throws you have to make when that's all you do, right? Is you're a distributor of the football, you're a quick game guy. 1st and 15 before that punt return, Tua misses short to Tyreek. You remember that ball? It's in the dirt. They're trying to get up to the line and go 2nd and short, right? But it's clear that he underthrew the ball and it's incomplete. So they go to review the thing, and then they end up with a 2nd and 30 at the 20. after I think a penalty or something, and then they punt to Hardy, which not only like that ball's out of the back of the end zone, or
Was that the Armstead
it's like a
holding?
coffin corner kind of thing. I think it was.
Yeah.
It's like that's going to be a hard ball to return when you're punting at the 50, even if you punt. But I think that drive goes on if you hit that throw, and maybe you go up 21-7. But what happened after that is not only you don't get the drive, you back them up, and that guy's got a lot of room. Booming punt. And obviously, you have somebody get hurt on the punt, and a punt return for a touchdown. And after that, it just felt like it was Miami. It was Buffalo's game. Like at that point,
dude.
and my boy, who I always talk to every week about the Dolphins, I saved the receipt of when he was like, after the Cowboys game, I got a message from my boy who's a Dolphins fan, and he's like, "You'll learn not to bet against Tua again." And I was like, "Well, first off, like the reason I'm not like completely in the red this year is because of the
That bet
Dolphins."
against the Dolphins.
Okay, and then the next 2 weeks, it's been incredibly profitable. So I saved that receipt, and my man said an ACL on a punt return decided this game.
Stop it.
And I think Dolphins fans, you got to be more realistic, okay? Because that's not what decided the game. What decided the game is Josh Allen's a freak show and a plus, and you have a quarterback that's operating in a system that when it breaks down a little bit, he's just not as good. Okay, and the defense could have been the reason. I still think Miami could make a run had they not had these defensive injuries, because I think their defense is that good. And I've said this all year. If they want to make a run, make it winning 23-17 in the
When
playoffs.
they showed that Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb graphic with 90, what was it?
It's hard to overcome that.
95 pressures.
It's hard to overcome that.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.